Hello and welcome to this Excel tips video. I am Sumit Bansal, and in this video I am going to show you how to use the filter function in Excel. Now filter again is a new function for Office 365 users, and that too for people who are a part of the Insider program. So if you want access to this function, you can upgrade to Office 365 using the link in the description. Now filter function allows you to quickly filter a huge data set based on a condition and then extract those records somewhere in the same worksheet or in a separate worksheet. It's a really easy function to use and will save you a lot of time. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 examples on how to use the filter function in Excel. So let's get started. Before I show you some examples on how to use the filter function, let me quickly show you the syntax. Here I have this data set and I can use the filter function to filter this data and get it in a separate area in the worksheet or even in some other worksheet. So the filter function takes 3 arguments. The first argument is the array. In this example, that array would be this data set. The second argument is include, which is where you specify the condition based on which the data should be filtered. So for example, if you're trying to filter all the records where the region is the US, then in the second argument, you would specify that. And the third argument is an optional argument where you specify what value should the function return in case it cannot find any filtered values. So let's say you're filtering a data set and the function cannot find any record that meet the specified condition, then it would return an error. But instead of an error, you can specify something specific to return, and that would be returned in case it cannot find any filtered values. Now let's see some examples on how to use the filter function. Here I have this data set and I want to filter all the records where the region is the US. And I'm going to use the filter function to do that. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the filter function and extract all these records in the same worksheet, but you can also use it to get this data in a separate worksheet. So here I'm going to use the filter function. My first argument is the array, which would be this data set in this example. The second argument is include, which would be the condition, which is this column should be equal to the US. And the third argument is optional, so I'm going to leave it out. And you can use it in case you think that there would be no records that would be found, and in that case the function returns an error and you do not want the error, you want something more meaningful, then you can use the third argument. Now when I hit enter, see what happens. As of now, the function is in cell E2, and when I hit enter, it would spill over and fill all these cells. So now I have all these records where the country is the US. So I have all these 4 records. Now, because this is a dynamic array, this would not be restricted to that one single cell where you have entered the formula. It is going to spill over and fill all these cells. So it is important that all these cells are already empty. In case you already have these filled, if there is any text already in these cells, then the formula is going to return an error. Also, I have hard coded the value US in this case, but you can also refer to a cell and that cell's value would be used. So let's say in this case, I have hard coded this part, but I don't want this to be hard coded. I want this to refer to, let's say, cell I1 here, and then based on it, I want to update these results. So in this case, I've already created a drop down list, and you can see I have these countries here. So let's say I select Canada here, and as soon as I make the selection, I want this data to be filtered. So to do that, let me delete this formula. Also, one more thing is that you cannot change one single cell of this array. You would either have to delete this entire array or you have to delete the cell which has the formula. You cannot come here and change the formula here. It will not be allowed. And if you try and delete this, it will not be allowed. Nothing would happen. So let me come here to this cell and press delete, and it removes the entire result. And now let me create this again. So I would filter this. This is the array. The condition should be this is equal to this cell here. And now when I hit enter, it gives me these 2 records for Canada. But see what happens when I change these, this would automatically update. So now this becomes really useful if you have a dashboard and you want to quickly update the records based on the selection, then you can use the filter function. In this example, I want to quickly filter all those records where the sales value is more than 10,000. So I would come here in this cell, type the filter formula. This is my array. And my condition in this case would be this column. So I would check each and every cell in this column here and see if it is more than 10,000 or not. And now when I hit enter, it would instantly give me all these records where the sales value is more than 10,000. If you want to check for something else, let's say you want to get all the records where the sales value is less than 10,000, then you can change the condition, hit enter, and it returns all these values, all these records where the sales value is less than 10,000. In this example, I want to filter all the records where the sales value is more than 10,000 and the region is the US. So I want to assess two conditions and then filter all those records that meet both these conditions. So I would come here and I would enter filter here. Now my array would be this. And now I need to check for two conditions. So the first condition is that this should be equal to the US. So this becomes my first condition. And I would put this in brackets, and then to make sure that I'm also checking for the other condition, I would use the multiplication operator or the asterisk sign and then have the second condition after it. So in this case, the second condition would be that the sales value here is greater than 10,000. Now this is going to check for both these conditions, and it is going to only return true for those records where both these conditions are matched. And if any one of the condition is true and the second one is not true, then this is not going to return a true. So now if I hit enter, you can see it instantly gives me these three records where the region is the US and the sales value is more than 10,000. So you can use an AND operator kind of stuff in filter function where you can check for two or more than two conditions by using the multiplication operator. In the previous example, I showed you how to use the AND condition within the filter function. So we filtered records where the region was the US and the sales value was more than 10,000. In this case, I'm going to show you how to use the OR condition. And we are going to use filter function to filter all the records where the region is either US or Canada. So I would use the filter function. This is my array. My condition here would be this column is equal to US, and let me put it in brackets. And then in the last example, we used the multiplication operator, but in this case, we are going to use a plus sign, the addition operator, and then have the second condition, which in this case would be this column is equal to Canada. And now when I hit enter, see what happens. It gives me all the records for US as well as Canada. So this is an OR condition where either of these conditions is true, it would be filtered. I've used it on the same column. So I've showed you the region should be either US or Canada, but you can do it on multiple columns as well. So for example, let's say I want to filter all the records where either the region is US or the sales value is more than 10,000. So again, I would use the filter function. This is my array. And the condition here would be this column is equal to US and then a plus sign, and sales column here is more than 10,000. And now when I hit enter, it again gives me all these records where the region is either US or the sales value is more than 10,000. So all these records where the region is not US, the sales value would be more than 10,000. So this is how you can use the OR operator within the filter function. In this example, I would show you how to use the filter function to filter all the records where the sales value is more than the average of the dataset or it's below the average of the dataset. So here I would use the filter function. This is my array. And in condition here, I need to check whether this value is more than the average of this entire dataset. So I would select this column and say if this is more than the average of this data set here. And now when I hit enter, it instantly gives me these three records because these values are more than the average of this. So if I come here and I manually calculate the average of this data set, it comes out to be somewhere around 12,000. So all these values are more than 12,000. Similarly, if you want this to be below average, then you can change the direction and instantly it gives me all these records where the sales value is less than the average. You can also use the filter function to filter all the even numbered records or odd number records in the dataset. So in this case, let's say I want to filter all the records that are even numbered, then I can use the filter function. This is my array. And in the condition, I would have to use a formula that would check the row number. So I would use the mod function, and within the mod function, I would use the row function, and I would check the row number for any of these. So let's say I select A2 to A11, and I would subtract 1 from this because I'm starting from the second row onwards. If I'm starting from the first one, from A1, I would not subtract 1, but because I'm starting from the second one, I subtract 1 from this. And in this data set, my alternate records would start from the third row and the fifth row and the seventh row. So I subtract 1 from here, and now the divisor in this case is 2 because I want to extract every alternate record. And I would check whether this is equal to 0 or not. And see what happens when I hit enter. It would instantly give me all these records which are alternate. So in this case, I get record for Alice, Shane, Jenny, Stan, and Bob. Similarly, if you want to get all the odd numbered records, you can come here and you can change this to 1 and see what happens. Instantly, it gives me all these odd numbered records in the data set. In this example, I would show you how to combine filter function with the sort function, which again is a new function in Office 365, to get the result which is sorted in an ascending order, descending order. So in this case, let's say I want to filter all the records where the sales value is more than 10,000. So if I just use the filter function, this would be my array, and my condition would be this column is more than 10,000. And as soon as I hit enter, I get these records, but you can see this data is not sorted in any order. So I would change this formula and I would wrap this within the sort formula, and the sort formula again takes the array, and that array is returned by the filter function. So the array is covered. The second argument is the sort index, which is by which column do I need to sort this. And in this example, I need to sort this based on the sales column. So I would type 3 here, and then I need to specify whether I want this to be sorted in an ascending order or a descending order. In this case, I'm going with descending, and see what happens now when I hit enter. It would instantly give me these records, which is not just filtered, but at the same time sorted based on the sales value. So you can combine filter function with the sort function to get a sorted data set. I've done this based on the sales value. You can also do this based on the names or the region if you want. So these are some of the examples of using the filter function in Excel. That's it in this video. I hope you found this useful. Also, if you're liking these videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you never miss out on any new video I come up with. Thank you and have a wonderful day.